Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Helen. I'm a California lawyer, and lately I've been spending a lot of time exploring how lawyers are actually using AI in their daily work. Today, I'm really happy to have Jimmy here with us. Jimmy, before we start, could you briefly introduce yourself?
Sure. So I'm a lawyer based in Hong Kong. I like to use AI to make things that lawyers want. I like to use. I've been solving a lot of my problems and my workflow problems with AI, and quite recently I've been posting a lot of apps, mini apps that I've coded, and has received quite some level of interest.
Thank you, Jimmy. Let's start with the first question. So, Jimmy, in your own words, how would you explain vibe coding to a lawyer who has heard the term but doesn't really know what it means?
Sure. So vibe coding means that you can build your own apps without caring about the codes. You simply tell the AI what you want, what features the app should have, and then see the magic happens. And you can continue iterating on the app by just using natural language.
Thanks, that's a great explanation. All right, let's move on to the second quick question. What made you start trying vibe coding in the first place?
So I started vibe coding actually not for legal tech apps. I've been vibe coding a website for my wife's clinic. So I tried different AI coding agents, and they're really good at web development at first. So that's how I got into vibe coding. But then vibe coding agents become more and more sophisticated. They can do complicated, Python scripts. They can run codes. They even have, they can even build AI-enabled features. So that's when it clicked for me that, well, maybe I can start building apps that actually serve lawyers' workflow.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's go to the third question. What kinds of AI tools or small projects have you built so far?
So I've built around 5 to 6 apps. One of the apps that attracted the most attention is the tablet review tool, which is one of the major features offered by a lot of the big legal tech startups out there, including Harvey and Agora. It's basically an Excel for lawyers. It extracts information out of a suite of documents into this Excel like table, so lawyers can actually see all the information in a unified interface. So that one I built within a day, but I quite lately iterated a second version because I just like to make it a little bit better. So I also built a contract simulator, which is something that kind of helps the user see into the future to see how the contract will behave under different scenarios. So if you upload a contract, then it will generate different high-stakes scenarios where the AI agents represent different parties and debate against each other. And then there will be an AI judge that rule which party wins. I've also created like a productivity tool, which is like a text and document comparison tool, a lightweight version to something like Litera. So because a lot of lawyers, we compare text, compare documents all the time, but the software that we use to do that is very clunky. It has a lot of features that we don't need. So I built like an AI agent that actually does these kind of text compare and document compare in bulk. So it will definitely save lawyers a lot of time. I also built like a lightweight version of Spellbook. So it basically it generates an agreement, and then there's a panel where you can continue editing the document by instructing the AI. It's a lightweight version. Some other lawyers actually vibe coded some word add-ins, which are like way more impressive. So these are the kind of mini apps that I've built.
That's really interesting, and actually it's more than I expected. All right, let's move on to the fourth question. So what tools or platforms do you usually use for vibe coding, and roughly how long does it take to build something?
So I like to use Google AI Studio. It is free. Everyone can use it. And then they also used Gemini Free Pro as the underlying model. So it's really smart and it's really good at coding. So a lot of the apps I built built the first draft was actually built using Google AI Studio. But for the last mile, to actually complete the whole picture, because Google AI Studio doesn't support all kinds of libraries, it cannot run Python code. So I would switch to VS Code, which is like a developer, which is like something that developers use to continue iterating on the app. For hosting, I will use something like Vercel or Replit because when it comes to hosting on a website, it is actually more complicated than that. So there's a dedicated services to do that. For beginners, I would recommend something that is more full stack, more user friendly. That'll be something like Manus, something like Replit, Lovable. Although I would say if you want something free, I think Gemini, Google AI Studio would be the best thing.
Okay, so there is still another question. How long does it take to build something?
Oh yeah. It depends. It depends.
Yeah.
I would say if you want to build a prototype that solves maybe 60 or 70% of your problem, It'd probably take a day or two. I think it also depends on how hard the problem is. I would say a lot of the workflows that we have, that lawyers have, I think could be automated one way or another if we spend enough time just developing the app for it. I think a normal development timeline would be somewhere around 3 to 7 days. For a working solution. Yeah.
That's still really, really fast, I think.
Yeah,
I think
mean,
that the time part surprised a lot of lawyers. That feels very doable.
I think so too. I think for prototypes, that's definitely something that you can do within a day. I think the trick is trying to iterate on it and to see where the bugs are, and then how you should fix it. And depending on how difficult the problem is, and maybe it's something that even state-of-the-art technology can offer. If that is a problem, then it requires real engineering efforts. But it's something if it's simple tools, something like extracting comments out of a Word document. This is really something that realistically will only take you 1 to 3 days to make.
I personally wanted to add one question. So does that make you feel that vibe coding has real value for lawyers, not just as a hobby, but as something useful?
I think it depends. I think if lawyers are able if they're allowed, if there's an environment which allow them to create these tools within their within their own firm, within their environment, then these tools would definitely be very useful for their workflows. For example, if Google AI Studio has an enterprise version, if the security issues and deployment issues they are solved at the platform level, so that there's a real sandbox where lawyers can build tools and use them, then there is I think that is a really viable path for lawyers to actually build things that they could use on the same day. I think that we are seeing a variation of it. This is not something that is that has not happened before. For example, Microsoft has Copilot Studio or Power Automate, which are like automation platforms that a lot of enterprises using already. So if they decide to enable vibe coding, within their environment, then it is quite possible that lawyers can already do it. I think the point that I was trying to make is that the frontier models have become so good at coding, and I think this is no longer like taking something from idea to prototype. It's the time from idea to prototype has shortened so much that the cost of software development has dropped to almost zero. So we'll see what would be the actual last mile efforts that we need to enable vibe coding at scale.
Thanks. That's a great point. So thank you so much, Jimmy. This was a really nice conversation, and I think many lawyers will find your experience encouraging. Thanks again for taking the time to share, and thanks everyone for listening. See you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.